The top most disputed international borders in the world. Welcome back to another amazing episode. Today, we will present top most disputed international borders in the world. Make sure to stay tuned to find out those fiery borders. And if you are new around here, then make sure to click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to get notified of our future posts. Without wasting any more time, let's get straight into the video. Number 6. Cambodia and Thailand. One of the most disputed borders around the world is the 4,863-kilometer-long border between Cambodia and Thailand. It is a deadly and disputed site, with dozens of people killed and tens of thousands dislodged on both sides. This dispute is over a century old and has been unresolved since the colonial times. The main dispute between the two neighboring countries is Previher Temple along the border. Tensions escalated between the countries over the 1.8 square mile area, which is declared a World Heritage Site in the 2008 by the UNESCO. Both the countries fought over the temple until it was handed over to Cambodia in 1962 by the International Court of Justice, which forced Thailand to withdraw their military and police located in that area. A deadly violence broke out between 2008 and 2011, where many Thai and Cambodian soldiers got killed in the clash, which caused a ceasefire agreement. However, both sides are still engaged in military activities, and a lot of people have been forced to flee the area due to constant unrest and an imminent threat to the peace and sovereignty of the region. With two sides accusing each other of constant unrest, it is hard to say when the dispute will come to a rest. Number 5. China-India border. Number 5 on our list is the China-India International Border, also known as the Line of Actual Control, LOAC. There is a disputed territory between India and China along the Himalayan border. The dispute began when a war broke out between the two nations in 1962, also referred to as the Sino-Indian War, with China being hailed the winner. Both the nuclear-armed countries share a joint border of 3,488 kilometers, or 2,167 miles. The dispute between these two countries has been taking place since a long time about the main territory in the Himalayan, called Aksai Chin, a territory that India has claimed since a long time ago, but occupied by China. Recently, for the first time in 45 years, there was a dispute over the Ladakh territory in June 2020. According to the sources, both the countries increased their military presence in the region as tensions grew. Both sides faced an intense and deadly standoff on the 15th of June, where 20 Indian soldiers lost their lives. Experts believe that China has advanced further into the disputed territory and has taken complete control and dominance in the region. Apart from that, the situation on the border is still intense and scary. Even though both the countries are trying to ease tensions, neither of them wants to give up the land. The standoff continues, and the situation could escalate at any time, resulting in more death. Number 3. North Korea and South Korea. Another highly disputed border in the 150-mile-long Demilitarized Zone, DMZ, which is the common border between North Korea and South Korea. The two countries had a war back in 1950, which continued till 1953, where 2.5 million people lost their lives. After the war, they signed a ceasefire agreement, but no peace treaty was signed between the two rivals. Therefore, they are still at war. There has been a strong military presence along the border, with the United States supporting the South Korean side. The U.S. has maintained about 28,000 troops in the region, and the situation is intense in terms of deadly clashes and standoffs. There are about 2 million soldiers patrolling the border, which makes it one of the most heavily militarized borders in the world. In 2010, a deadly clash between two countries resulted in South Korean warship being sunk by a North Korean submarine. This resulted in an aggressive exchange of fire and heavy artillery. North Korea also allegedly bombarded the South Korean island Yongpyeong. Recently, in June 2020, In the middle of rising tension between countries, North Korea blew up Inter-Korean Liaison Office on the side of the border. After the incident, South Korean President Moon Jae-in has warned North Korea against leading any armed attack. Apart from that, they are rising slogans against each other to inflame hate and enmity amongst the people. Number 2. India and Bangladesh. India shares a 4,156-kilometer-long international border with Bangladesh, formerly known as East Pakistan. India played a crucial role in the liberation war of Bangladesh in 1971, which killed more than 1 million people and devastated the economy of the newly formed state. India claims that there are a lot of illegal migrants and terrorists coming from Bangladesh, so it has strict border policies, which includes the shoot-on-sight policy. According to international sources, more than 10,000 people have been shot and killed by Indian troops along the border. Bangladesh is a poor country with a Muslim majority, which is often at the mercy of Hindu extremists. Therefore, there is nothing much that the state can do about it. India-Bangladesh border has been the deadliest border in the past, with all the merciless killings of the Bangladeshi migrants at the hands of Indian soldiers. However, India now claims that it is making efforts to disarm the soldiers at the border and issue them non-lethal weapons to counter the migrants. The border remains a hot disputed area till date. Number 1. Israel and Palestine. With more than 100 years of unrest, Israel-Palestine conflict is also referred as the most intractable conflict in the world. Despite the peace talks taking place for more than 25 years, the conflict has never reached to an end. The 3 main reasons behind the conflict are believed to be the Jewish settlement in the West Bank, whether 2 countries should share Jerusalem, and the conflict over Palestinian refugees. This never-ending dispute started 100 years back, when the Britons took over Palestine after World War I, and Britain was tasked to establish a national home for Jewish people in Palestine. In 1947, the United Nations voted to divide Palestine into 3 parts: 1 state for Jews, another state for Arabs, and 1 for the establishment of international trusteeship regime in Jerusalem. The conflict rose between the Jewish and the Arab people. After British rulers left in 1948, Jewish people declared the creation of State of Israel. Palestinians were not happy, and the war followed. Palestinians got defeated, and Jerusalem was divided between the Israel and the Jordan. More than 700,000 Palestinians had to escape their homes. Another war broke in 1967, when Israel occupied East Jerusalem, West Bank, and most of Golan Heights. The tension got worse when Israel refused the entry of the Palestinians to their home country. Today, the conflict over the occupancy of Jerusalem is still rising between the 2 nations, and the Palestinians still demand for their return. Let's hope the situation gets better. That was it for today. These were the topmost hotly disputed international borders in the world. And if you somehow enjoyed this video, then make sure to give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you're new to the channel, then check out my previous content. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time. Bye.